Goes clear. These go back to what is it, 22, 23.
Where did you grow up? What town?
Parkersburg, West by God, Virginia. Dad was a banker in Parkersburg. He was cashier of the Wood County Bank in Parkersburg, where I was born and raised. The big crash was in 29. Mm-hmm. I was born in 24, so I'd be, what, 5 years old, wasn't it? 5 or 6 years old. And it closed the banks. And I'll never forget, Dad went door to door selling Hoover vacuum cleaners. Oh. Can you imagine a banker? But it wasn't long. I don't remember how long it was, but a friend of his in Baltimore called him one day and said that there was a little bank on the eastern shore of Maryland that needs an executive officer to get open. And my father said, "Oh, that's wonderful, but where in the world is the eastern shore of Maryland?" So he came to Baltimore, and the fella brought him over here, and he reopened the Centreville National Bank. For years, I mean, if you wanted to go to Baltimore, you better make sure you had plenty of time, because you had to, know when those scheduled the ferries ran. That's the only time I ever got arrested for speeding. I was trying to catch a ferry one day, and a cop caught me going through Graysonville too fast, because back then you went through Queenstown, Graysonville. You didn't have 301. I was trying to catch the ferry because I knew exactly when it was getting ready to leave. Kent Island was all watermen and farmers when it was a ferry stop. But then when they built those bridges, boy, I tell you, the developments just boomed up and down the Kent Island. And that's another thing I got into my editorial-wise, why we needed a parallel bridge, because of the big backups on weekends of the crossing the Bay Bridge. Traffic went clear across Kent Island. Yeah. The backup traffic. Yeah. I remember I got in a car with my friend Clevenger. Marlon Clevenger was a state trooper. And I said, he and I were good friends. I said, I want to go to the backup of one of these Sunday afternoon backups on the Bay Bridge. He said, all right, I'll take it and I'll show you how long it is. We ended up clear down the other side of Y Mills, 17.5-mile backup. That really helped me with my editorials to get that parallel bridge. I'll never forget that one. Clevenger said, see, this is what I have to put up with I have to put up with this every weekend. The only people that have been against the bridge all along were the people in Kent County. They really railed against it. When their paper up there talked about a bridge, because they were talking about a bridge that might go from outside of Baltimore, somewhere, I can't think of the name of it, across to Tolchester.
That's right.
And my God, the people in Kent County, oh my Lord, no way. Then I got that bridge. Then I got people in Baltimore coming over here, disrupting our way of life. So I don't want them to build a third bridge there. They build it down in South Maryland. You have to be. You're a real big part of the community, of the economic part of the town with your paper. What you write and what ends up in the paper can make and break a lot of things. I found that out.
Yeah.
And so you have to be a real, well, a go-getter for your town, your community. And you spent 24 hours, 24/7. My wife told me that I spent on the paper years ago, and I guess it was about that way. You're talking to the guy on the street that just saw your editorials you wrote, and he's the president of the county commissioners, buddy, or the current chamber of commerce. Yeah, it's personal. Very personal. I found that out several times. I remember the superintendent of schools, Dr. Harry Rhodes, did he and the black principal of the black high school worked so closely and so evenly together, that the segregation here went without a hitch, whereas in other counties in the state it was a mess, terrible. And these two gentlemen worked hand in hand and did a beautiful job. I didn't make. I just kept away from it, you know. When I was the editor, the old buck stopped on my desk. The paper was owned by 6 or 7 businessmen here in town, who knew me, and I knew every one of them, and I knew that they wanted the best we could get for the paper and for the town. Mm-hmm. But when I went to the Delaware State News, or sometime after that, it was purchased by the Chesapeake Publishing Company, which owned the Star-Democrat and other papers. But they're the ones that in 82 or 3, 83 I believe it was probably, they contacted me. They wanted to merge 2 papers in Caroline County, the County Record and the Fredericksburg Times. The County Record in Denton and the Fredericksburg Times, 2 of the bigger papers in the county. But they didn't want 2 papers in the county. They only wanted 1, you know, save money. Corporation, you know, the what they call them, the bean counters. And by golly, I let them hire me to come back to Caroline County and merge those 2 papers. And I spent a year doing it, talking to the business people in both towns, mainly in Fredericksburg, because I had to kill a newspaper. I had to kill the Fredericksburg Times. Worst job I ever had. But I did it. And they said, okay, now you can take over here. You've merged these papers, you take over there. I said, no, I'm going to get back home. Either that or I'm going to go back to Dover. No, you go back to Centreville. So I came back here for a year, or I don't know, every year or so. But the corporation, the corporate people and I didn't get along too well. They wanted to run the paper a certain way, and I didn't want to run it that way. I just decided the corporation and I just didn't see eye to eye, and rather than worry so much and get a ulcer or whatever you'd get putting up with things that you didn't think were right, I decided to cash it in. Let's see, I was 62, so I went ahead and retired then. But then the corporate people, and I can't think of the fellow's name. Oh my God, you got to keep writing that column. The paper won't be the same without your column. I said, well, it probably won't be. I started writing when I was 15, for crying out loud. And I'm now 60, whatever. So I said, well, we decided on a price. I said, yeah, I'll keep on writing for you if you pay me. So I'm still writing the darn column. Yeah, that's right. We didn't. The Estlin boys and I were good friends, and so was Norman Harrington down at the Star-Democrat. We didn't compete for stories. I covered Queen Anne's County. Estlin covered Kent County. Norman covered Talbot. You know, that's it. You didn't have any. We had no circulation in Easton. Well, half a dozen. I didn't have any circulation in Kent County. My circulation was right here. The Estlin boys had their circulation. And no, we went to press meetings in our carpool to the press convention in Baltimore all the time together. I'll never forget, they had a murder up in Kent County. By that time, I'd gone with the Delaware State News. They had a murder up there, and old Bill Estlin and I went back and forth to Delaware to Bel Air during the trial for a week. He drove one day, and I'd drive the next. Yeah. But it was we didn't call it competition. We were all friends. I never thought about it till just recently. This social media is taking over the young people, aren't they? Yeah. The iPads and the something that I didn't worry about back then.
Yeah,
They didn't have, no, you didn't have smartphones and cell phones. If you wanted to read the local news and read about who had a baby or who got married, you picked up the newspaper. But nowadays, what is it, Facebook and whatever, you know right away who who did what or who didn't do what. So I'm not very happy the way the newspaper business is going to probably just, I don't know what's going to, it won't, hopefully it won't go out of style, but it certainly has hurt as far as readership. Yeah, there's no way to keep up with the instantaneous news. I mean, particularly the weeklies. The dailies can't even do it, but the weeklies, once you write something, I mean, I have to, they want my column in by Monday mornings, you know, and I have to write it over the weekend. And if I want it, by the time it comes out in the paper Friday, something I might have seen Saturday, it doesn't make any sense by the Friday. In fact, I told somebody in the library the other day, I said, it's about time I stopped this column. I'm 90 years old, for crying out loud. I've been writing it since I was 15. I must be the oldest columnist in the state. Well, yeah, you probably are, but you better keep on writing because everybody's going to stop reading the paper if you don't write that column. So I said, well, as long as I enjoy it, or get a kick out of it, and got something to say, I'll keep on going, I guess.